Hello, welcome, and welcome back. Oh, my dog's coughing in the background already. If you're watching on video, you can see her. She's having a hard time settling in. But anyway, welcome back to not only the podcast, but my new YouTube channel, The Homesteading Healer, and the podcast, Embodied Living with Kristi. As always, I am excited to be here today. I have been doing things a little bit different where I've been recording video as well as recording the audio for the podcast. So I try to kind of get my ducks in a row with this. I don't know how well it works. I need some, I need a more professional microphone and other things. But for now, this is where we are. This is what's happening. I'm here today to just touch base and just share about some of the things that I've been experiencing, some of the things I've been going through for the past few weeks. I'm not sure when the last episode was, but I'm here today. So maybe some of the stuff that I've kind of been experiencing, you guys have been experiencing too. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's dive in and get started. Today's episode is going to just be, I'm just going to kind of riff on stuff. I'm just going to chat about stuff. You guys seem to like these episodes. So here we go. Wow, I've been having some density releasing from my body and a lot of old energy coming up to be released. And I've also been having a lot of old limitations and patterns and mindsets and all of that stuff kind of being challenged, really being brought up to the surface for me to be able to further and more fully embody my higher self or you know, whatever term or word you like to use. So that's kind of what I've been going through. The density and the ascension symptoms, it's kind of been a combination of both. So one of the kind of main ascension symptoms that I get is like aching legs. And it's usually one or the other. It's usually not both legs aching at the same time. And what it feels like is literally, it feels like growing pains. So it's not like sore muscles or achy muscles after a workout. It's like this really deep aching and it hurts. And I was having some of that last night and a couple other times over the past 1 or 2 weeks. So yeah, that's been going on. And then yeah, the density, wow. Maybe not last week, but the week before, I was having neck issues where I woke up and I felt a little bit of a kind of crick in my neck. And as the day went on, it got worse and worse and more painful to where I could hardly really turn my head. And then a few hours later, kind of like as soon as it, or as suddenly as it showed up, it went away. So that's some of the density I've been experiencing. I've been experiencing like cramps and upset stomach and around into like just lower back pain and kind of aching there. So let's talk about density. When this stuff comes up for you and for me, it's all of this old energy that's coming up to be released. So as we do the work, as we rise up in frequency, and as we are embodying a new state of being, all that old stuff has to go somewhere, right? So all those old patterns, all of the old habits, the beliefs, the emotions, all of that old energy purges out to be released. So oftentimes that shows up as pain in the body, right? Headaches, insomnia, or wanting to sleep a lot, you know, a lot of tiredness, a lot of fatigue. The list could really go on and on and on. Acne, some people, that's how their density shows up. Yeah, for me, it's generally like headaches, neck tension, body aches. I know for some people, some of the density shows up as, what's the word? like the imbalance, where your equilibrium is off. I forget, like I'm blanking on what the word is, but like nausea is one. So if you've been going through any of that, if you've been having any of that, chances are that's what's going on. So be patient, which I know is difficult, especially if you're in pain or like your body is just feeling so uncomfortable. But looking at things from an energetic standpoint, or from the lens of energy and quantum, and everything is energy, right? That's what's happening, is all that old energy, as you do the work on yourself, that comes up to be released. So it kind of sucks. Like, ascension symptoms suck. They don't feel good. I remember when my sister, maybe it was earlier this year, she started doing some work with me, and she was doing meditation and journaling and things like that. And she was drudging up all this stuff. And her ascension symptom was, what is the word? It's the feeling like out of balance. What the hell is the word? It's not like a lightheadedness, but it's just that, like, where you're just like, you feel like you're just off, like off balance or off equilibrium. I can't believe I can't remember the word, but you guys will know what I'm talking about. So that was one of hers. And it got, if I'm remembering correctly, it got to the point where there was, I think she even went to the hospital or to the doctor just to like see, make sure that, you know, it was nothing super major that need to be treated. And she's been fine since then. But that's an example, right, of ascension symptoms. Last year in 2020, one of my ascension symptoms was migraines, and that sucked. I can handle having a cold, I can handle having the flu, those types of things, but headaches for me are what really get me, and especially migraines. So yeah, the density. I personally have just been kind of trying to ride the wave and just keep reminding myself that all of this is coming up for a reason. All of this is that old energy that I have been working to address and release. I've been putting that intention and that attention, and that's where I've been placing my energy. So no wonder all of this is coming up, right? I think that we maybe last week have also been like going through some type of like solar flares. And I mean, there's always like crazy cosmic stuff that's going on too, that does have an effect on us to a certain extent. So keeping those things in mind, right? There's a lot of stuff to keep in mind. Yeah. So, in terms of what else I've been working on for myself is just, as I said, I have been really, really deliberate and intense with myself of not letting that old programming kind of come back in and take things over, if that makes sense. I think I did an episode on old programming a few weeks ago, and that's still what I'm focusing on, is really paying attention when those old stories and those old like mindsets, especially of lack and of like worry, and especially about money. You guys know that that's something that I feel like I'm constantly working on that, but really going from a space of, even now, shifting from a space of, okay, feeling like I need to work on it. Whereas now it's more like I've done the work on it, and now it's my job to embody this new state of being, this higher frequency when it comes to money and abundance and prosperity and all of that energy. Because it's so easy and we don't even realize it a lot of the time when that old stuff is like creeping back into your mind, because it's such a habit, and it's just the way that we have been functioning for years most of the time. And so we don't even realize when it's happening. And then, you know, when you do catch yourself, it's like, oh, okay. And then you pivot and you bring yourself into a higher frequency, or, you know, like for me, it's really setting those energetic boundaries, and those boundaries just within myself of like, no, I'm not giving any more energy to this. I have no more energy, no more time, no more attention to give to these old patterns and this prosperity consciousness wound. And like, no, I'm done. So for me, yes, there are some things that, I can still go in and work on in quantum and with meditation and with journaling. But for the most part, um, I'm in a new space within myself and with all of that. And with that comes this like intense, profound shift within myself that is starting to reflect in my outer. So what I mean by that, and you guys have heard me talk about this, is when you do the work, you're making those changes in the energetic realm. So those changes are happening, they're just unseen first. And then they start to trickle into your physical reality. So that's starting to happen for me, where I'm noticing that there has just been such a huge shift in my energy in terms of like, I know this is going to work out for me. And the lack and the doubt, like those little voices that have been in my head for so long, and some of the emotions that come along with those, and guilt and just all of that, is really hardly present anymore, which is very exciting because for so many years, like my whole, quote unquote adult life, so from like my teens to now, basically, it was like just so much doubt and just like a really deep not believing that I can make this work. Like not believing, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and get really, really vulnerable because I know I put myself out there a lot, but a theme that I've been seeing pop up like several times within the past couple weeks is really speaking your truth, really like throwing yourself into your authenticity and expressing that and allowing that to come forward. And I do talk about myself a lot and I do share a lot of my stuff, but a lot of the times I don't really share a lot of the specifics with you guys. So here we go. I have had so many like limiting beliefs, is that what you want to call them, when it comes to like building a business and just doing this type of work and being successful at it and making it work. And I still have a lot actually to work through with that because, I mean, as you guys know, as I've talked about, as you peel away those layers, more and more and more starts to come up, right? So I've been digging into this and I've been getting really real with myself, and layer after layer, all this stuff comes up about, like, I don't really believe that I can be successful at this. And what's really exciting for me at this point is that anytime those beliefs pop into my mind or those thoughts or whatever, my higher self pipes up right away and she's like, yeah, but that's not true, because you see other people being successful with this. You see other people, and it's not even about doing the same type of work that other people do. I mean, I do, but that's not even what it's about for me. But it's more like the possibilities that are actually out there and available that I just haven't actually believed are possible, but I've known that they're available to me. Because if you can dream something, if you can imagine something, if you can tap into something, or like if you have a daydream, or just, you like, the fact that you can imagine those things means that they literally exist as a potential possibility for you. So I know all of this, and it's not the knowing in the mind, it's the knowing energetically and through my higher self and my multidimensional self. And so even with knowing that, I have still been in a space of like limiting myself just in terms of different offerings and different ways that I can run my business and different things that I can do. So I see some of the stuff that other people are doing, and it's so expansive to me because it's not that I, steal other people's ideas, but just seeing the way that they do things or the way that they set up like a membership on their website or different things like that, that I've started to kind of open up to and expand myself to, if that makes sense. And lately, even just within the past couple days, I have really been like full steam ahead, which is a big shift for me as well, because a lot of the time I'll put out like one little offering, like maybe a little group session, and then like that's all I'll really put out for like a month or 2 months or 3 months. But because the energy within me has shifted so much recently, I'm, like I said, full steam ahead. So I'm coming out with new offerings. I'm coming out with new programs without doubting myself. And that's a whole different dynamic too. Because even a year ago, I would maybe throw like a group session out there. So a group like meditation or energy system regulation or nervous system regulation or whatever, right? And I would throw that out there. But then in the back of my mind, there was always this voice that was, okay, nobody's going to sign up for this. No one's going to join. So right away, I was quote unquote setting myself up for failure, where energetically I was speaking and engaging with the universe of, okay, I'll just throw this out there, but whatever, because nobody's going to sign up anyway. And wow, you guys, it's been a lot for me to dig into. So even in terms of what I've been putting out there, I have shifted. God, now that I'm sitting and talking about this, there has been a lot that's been shifting the past couple of weeks. I have shifted in the way and the manner that I put myself out there. And by put myself out there, I mean posting a picture of myself or putting a new offering out there or, just whatever, in whatever way I put myself, even with the podcast, with YouTube videos, making a new YouTube channel. Because here's the interesting thing, and maybe I've talked about this before too. I feel like I'm kind of all over the map with this conversation, but like I said, I'm here to just riff on things today. So quite a few years ago, like 2015, 16, somewhere around there, and then the years before that, when I started opening up about my depression, I started talking about that, and I started just sharing my story and all of these, things that I had gone through. I don't, and I don't know if this is like completely accurate or not, but looking back in hindsight, I don't really remember talking about that stuff and opening up like that and really like worrying about what other people were going to think or going to say. So there was this element of just kind of spilling my guts and just laying it all out there without fear, without filtering myself, without holding myself back. And then a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, like 2018, 2017, 2018. I'm not good with like time, human time, but somewhere around there. I don't know, something shifted. And I started just getting uncomfortable, really fully putting myself out there. And not, I don't use the word fully to mean like putting everything out there, because I don't think even those of us who share a lot, we don't need to put everything out there. But just the content and the stuff that I do put out there, always in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm thinking about, okay, I'm thinking about who I know follows me on Instagram or social media, who I know listens to the podcast, who I know will see that, especially on Facebook. Maybe not Instagram so much, but Facebook for sure. I'm always thinking about, okay, these are people I know I have as friends on Facebook who are going to see these posts and going to see all this stuff that I'm putting out here. And so I was holding back to a certain degree because I would think about these people, and not even that it's anyone in particular, but just having this thing within me of, what will they think? What will they say? What will they talk about me behind my back? And so even as I continued to put myself out there and put offerings out there and, trying to build this as a successful business and a successful practice, there was always this like hesitation. And just within the last little bit, that hesitation has started to diminish, and it started to like crumble away a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And that feels really, really good. And maybe it's going along with this theme of us, healers and light workers and kind of energy mentors and whatever name you want to give us, really, again, going full steam ahead, putting all of our authentic selves out there and not holding anything back. As I said earlier, that's been something that I've been seeing just other people talking about, and just little kind of, energetic messages and hints and nudges that I've been getting for myself. So yeah, that's what's been going on. And things have just kind of been shifting so much, which is really, really exciting. Something else I've been getting into for the past little bit, and I don't do it every day, I just kind of have been doing it every now and then or when the mood strikes, is just like movement. So moving my body, and specifically with dancing. And this like embodied, how do I describe it? It's not even, it is intuitive movement, but it's more than that. It's like a step above that, and not, I don't mean above, I don't mean better than, but it's just like this other aspect or dynamic that's just like this embodiment movement where I'm pulling in these multidimensional aspects of myself, and I'm opening up these connections between myself and the earth and quantum, and it's just like the most delicious practice. And then even aside from that, just dancing, even just in a fun, like lighthearted way, and really letting my body go. Because I have become so like not only physically uncomfortable in my body, but very self-conscious of my body. And so even if I think some of you might be able to relate to this. Even if I'm like at home by myself, which I am most days now, if I put on music and I'm dancing and I'm like, okay, I'm really just going to like let go. I'm just going to move my body however feels good and just do this like intuitive movement. It's almost like so just physically, and it's not even physically, it's like physically and mentally combined, uncomfortable for me to do that. Like, even though nobody else is around, nobody's here to like judge me, I'm just here to judge myself. But it's really made me look at and realize and become aware of how unembodied I've been, if that makes sense. And I really feel this big time. And I'm happy that I've been getting into this practice, because let me tell you, last year when I was doing a lot of this inner work for myself, I was so out of my body, just because when you start awakening and you start ascending and you start doing this work for yourself, all of this shifting and all of this stuff is happening And especially if you are in meditation where you're deep in quantum, like you're not in your body. You're out there freaking floating around in all these dimensions out in the universe. And you're like, yes, you're in your body, but you are really doing this work that is so far beyond your body. And so I was doing I was doing so much of that work. And I remember last year, maybe even earlier this year, I was driving to town and I had a thought pop in my mind of, I really don't know if I should be driving, because that has just become so normal for me that I am so like expanded beyond my body and tapped in energetically that sometimes I really don't like feel myself within my body. It's the most bizarre thing to try to explain. The best way I could describe it is last year, or maybe the year before, I had all 4 of my wisdom teeth pulled. And so I came home. Of course, they give you the medication and the whatever. I don't even know. I don't remember what exactly the medication was. But, a few days later, I had to go into town. And so just to kind of be safe, I really wasn't taking like any of the medication because I wasn't really having any pain afterwards, which was amazing. But anyway, I had to drive myself into town. So I thought, okay, kind of just in case, I'll take a couple of these pills. There was 2 or 3 different ones. So I took 1 or 2, and I was almost all the way to town, which were only about 15 minutes outside of town. And I was like I was just like out of it. And I don't do drugs. I don't really drink alcohol anymore. Like that's not a normal thing for me to feel. And so I didn't freak out, but I just was very aware of like, okay, probably shouldn't have taken this medication, then drove myself to town, and now I'm like walking around the store and I just feel like out of it. That's the closest way I could describe what it's like being out of your body, or being so just like so much more than just within your body. I don't know if any of this is making sense. Like I said, it's so hard, and I know I've said this before, it's so hard. The human words don't do it justice. Okay? So anyway, the whole point of that is that I'm really excited to be kind of getting into this practice of embodiment and movement, because I think it's the right time now for me to be not necessarily, I wouldn't put it as like coming back into my body. Rather, it is the connection now between that quantum and that multidimensional self and the physical body. Maybe that makes sense. I don't know. So all around, it's just this embodiment where I am being all of these different like energies. It's wild and it feels wonderful. So, I mean, that's what's been going on. Yeah, hopefully you guys have kind of been hanging in there. I don't know what you're going through or what you've been experiencing or what's going on for you, but find the practices that work, find the things that help you and do them, because I mean, we know what helps us for the most part, but not for the most part, but sometimes we don't do them. And that's why I designed my whole Why the Fuck Are You Stuck workshop program, which is still available. You can grab that for yourself. Just to wrap up, I want to talk about the couple of kind of new things that I have going on. So yesterday was the first day of my new series on my YouTube channel called Meditation Mondays. Once a week, I'm going to be uploading a short, like 10 to 15 minute guided meditation for you to enjoy. They're completely free. Donations are always welcome. Just as a thank you, you can leave a tip or whatever. So you can check out the first one. It's on my YouTube channel. You can find me there. I'll put the links, but you can search up on YouTube, The Homesteading Healer, and you'll find me there. So you can look forward to those once a week. I have a couple of other new offerings actually. The first one is Transcend, which is the new program that I'm offering, which is live. It's a 4-week program. We're starting on November 15th, and we're going to be diving into everything. Everything, basically. Energy, quantum, frequency, vibration, patterns, habits, beliefs, wounds, inner child stuff, self-healing tools. Like, what else? You can visit my website. It's right on the homepage. You can see all the details for that. And then the other new offering I have are personalized guided meditations. So with these, what you can do is choose a topic or an area of life that you need a little bit of extra support in, something you want to focus on. So this could be self-love, abundance, grounding, anxiety or stress relief, whatever, really. And I will channel a 10 to 15 minute guided meditation for you that you can then download to your phone or whatever, and you can have to listen to whenever you want. So those are $15 per meditation, or 3 for $40. You can grab one or some of those for yourself. And I think that that's all I wanted to talk about that. So that's what's going on with me. That's what's going on with my offerings and some new stuff that you can get yourself in on. One other thing I will mention is my sister and I are hosting our second Mental Health Matters conversation on Zoom. That is also on November 15th, Monday, which is a little bit less than a week from today. And we're going to be focusing on social media and mental health. So we're going to be talking all about how and why social media affects your mental health. We're going to have about a 30-minute discussion, just the two of us, and then we're going to open it up to like a group discussion for whoever's there with us live. If you can't be there live, but you have a question or you have something that you would like us to discuss, you can contact me and send your question in. And then the replay will be available for you to watch. We can make sure we cover your question even if you can't be there live. So I think that starts at 7 p.m. But again, I'll put all the links for everything in my description of the video, the podcast episode, et cetera, et cetera. You guys should hopefully know the drill by now. All right. All that being said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. It kind of blows me away that people listen, because I mean, a lot of this podcast is just me coming in and just like brain dumping on all of you guys. But I like it. And hopefully it helps you feel less alone. Whatever you're going through, you can reach out. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, whatever, you can reach out to me and connect with me. And I just love you. And I just love being here. So thank you. And I will see you next time. Bye.